the other side, and his unique place in the annals of Indian science. This is chapter 8 from Birbal Sani. Few people earn the honor of having the field identified with their own name. Professor Birbal Sani was one such person. In India, the word paleobotany instantly evokes Professor Birbal Sani's name. Professor Sani had a philosophical bent of mind. He was not religious in the conventional sense, but quotes from his lectures and writings give a fairly good idea of his spirituality. He was a scientist with strong nationalist feelings. He had a clear, clinical, precise way of thinking and also expressing it. He was deep thinker, and the following passage by him gives a fairly good idea of his thinking. For what is it, after all, that pious men worship in a stone which they place in a temple, but an idea or an ideal, a great truth, a hope, or a wish for a higher existence, whether in this world or the next? And what is that a stone symbolizes? The great fact of the antiquity of plant life on the globe, the intellect of a man ever striving to bring that fact more and more clearly to light, revealing different stages not only in the evolution of the plant kingdom in a more and more orderly and understandable sequence, but also the evolution of his own pure understanding of these truths. The very constructions of it, the flaws and the imperfections of the entire makeup, the labor that has gone into its preparation are all but symbols of our surrounding where they are found. He strongly believed that the paleobotany is incomplete without imperfection and helpless efforts at constructing something new and something worthwhile. He always felt that fossils cannot be studied in isolation from the sediment and the surroundings where they are found. That was the reason he established the Department of Geology at the University of Lucknow. His following quote sums up the relationship beautifully. Paleobotany is the common ground between botany and geology. It is, in fact, botany of the rocks. Being researcher in paleobotany, he was aware of how truth presents itself in fragments and not as a whole. He realized this while working out the structure of Williamsonia Sewadiana, which was collected separately as a stem, leaf, and seed. The student of science lives in a world of fragments. Nothing in this vast array of visible things that we call nature appears to our restricted vision as a complete picture. Deep within, Professor Sani had a very philosophical way of looking at things. Nature offers a glimpse into its secrets, but it hides as much as it reveals. It is up to us to put the scattered pieces of evidence together and try to solve the riddle. True artist that he is, the creator never reveals the whole of his design at once. Like the child with a jigsaw puzzle, we try to piece together the fragments of the picture. He fully realized the limitation of science. To the onlookers who alone holds the key, the seriousness with which we go about our little attempts must seem pitiable. For all, after all, there can be only one real solution. We only delude ourselves. Some of us may boast that we have got at that one truth. Nonetheless, curiosity lures us on, for there are few pursuits so absorbing as this study of fragments that we call science. Not that he was always so serious as to never laugh or have amusement. In fact, he enjoyed interacting with young children and amused them with playfulness. While traveling anywhere, even abroad, a glove which had the appearance of a monkey always accompanied him. He would regale the kids with fun filled stories and anecdotes through this monkey, whom he had named Chippy. His niece described in her book how he presented it to his newly wed wife and the amusement it generated when she realized it was not a pet, just a toy. Professor Sani contributions were not limited to the study of plants and their fossils alone. He had also contributed to botany of living plants. His research in the science coins in is also well recognized. He supported the tectonics theory based on fossil based evidence when there were few takers for it. He was a great institution builder and had been involved in establishment of all the three major science academies of India. He institutionalized paleobotanical studies, the Lucknow-based Birbal Sandhi's Institute of Paleosciences, initially known as Institute of Paleobotany and then Birbal Sani's Institute of Paleobotany, is a testimony to his missionary zeal and stands as his living memorial. Professor Sani never hankered for power or position. It is believed that immediately after independence, he was offered the position of Secretary Education of the central government by the then Minister of Education. However, being entirely committed to science and its development, Professor Sani politely declined it. Professor Sani had a special, beautiful, poetic way of stating things. This is how he described the finding of fossils in the rocks. Slumbering for millions of years in strata, these immortal things woke up, as it were, under the stroke of the geological hammer and again saw the light of the day. Professor Sani had an aesthetic sense that few of his colleagues or contemporaries could match. It is said that he was unhappy after looking at the finished foundation stone as he felt that the size of the dark grains in the foundation stone was bigger than it should have been. His penetrating sight made him critical of himself. This is a quality everyone can learn from him. First day covers issued by the India Postal Department to commemorate Professor Birbal Sani and his work. It was because of all such qualities added to his academic brilliance that he had made a great impression on his seniors, his contemporaries, and younger colleagues alike. His demise on the intervening night of 9th and 10th April 1949 shocked everyone who knew him. Just a week before his demise, the foundation stone of the institute building had been laid. He was just short of turning 60 years old, and the untimely departure could have meant the end of his dream, the nascent Institute of Paleobotany. But his wife, Mrs. Savitri Sani, rose to the occasion. Professor Sani's goodwill ensured that his dream lived on and today stands as a leading institute in the field. The views of different distinguished scientists about him give an insight into his stature and the respect commanded by him. Thank you.